First. Welcome to the PlayStation 5 Pro stream with me, the Night Sky Prince. How's everyone doing today? Good morning, everyone. Assuming that you're here in the US. Sorry, my microphone arm is tripping. Anyway, I hope everyone is doing wonderful today, because we have a special day ahead of us, full of PlayStation news, I presume. I don't think that we're supposed to really get games today, really, like PS5 Pro game stuff. I'm sure they're going to demo something, like they will show us what PS5 Pro is going to look like. I mean, not look like, but play like, I should say, I guess. Like, they'll show the games running at the frame rates and resolutions, right? So I assume we'll get some Sony game or some third-party games that are running. Can I link this playlist? Yes, I certainly can. It's a good playlist. Let me drop that for you in the chat. Anyway, yeah, so I think that they're going to do it. I think if they want to show performance, show FF16 not running at sub 60. Yeah, I agree. That's the thing, right? Like, what is like the one game that you use to demo this? And I think that they have to have a game that demos this, because if they don't have any games to demo it, it's kind of like, what's the point, right? Like, and that's another thing too. This is a 9-minute long presentation that we're watching, so this is not going to be a very long thing at all. It's going to be very concise. And I guess like what I'm wondering is that given that how concise this is going to be, like they only have time maybe to show off again like 1 or 2 games. It can't be a lot. It can't be a lot. So I'm just wondering, you know, what is it going to be? Now they're supposed to be doing like another state of play. This is what the rumors say, that they're going to be doing like a full state of play to show games. Personally speaking, I feel like that is like not the best move. I feel like what they should have done was that they should have. You look a bit sleepy, dude. I just woke up. I personally think what they should do is have just one big show, right? To show the hardware and to show the games. I think it's a bit weird to show the hardware one day, just the hardware one day, and then just show the games the next day. Because what excites you for the hardware is the games, right? So I assume that PS5 Pro pre-orders are going to open up immediately after this. But I just think that, like, you know, and I'm sure they'll sell just fine, but it's just weird to me because I'm just like, what is the motivating factor for me to go buy PS5 Pro if you don't have a game that I'm like, oh, you need to play this game specifically on PS5 Pro, otherwise you're not getting the experience, right? So I don't want to like start criticizing them before we actually see the thing, but it does feel like it can be sold on an empty promise of what the hardware can do, right? Maybe like tech guys will kind of like buy into like, oh, you know, it's got this many gigaplops per terabit, but like the non-tech people who just want to see some games running at good frame rates and resolutions, they're gonna have to wait until next week, I guess, to see the state of play for games. I heard something about the Pros likely still going to have issues with 60 at 4K. Don't know how reliable the info was. I believe it. I believe it because 4K is a lot of pixels, and you know, generally speaking, getting 4K 60 on PC is a lot easier to do. But you have higher end graphics cards on PC that you don't have on consoles, and so I'm expecting this a PS5 Pro's GPU to be comparable to like a 3060 to like a 3070 Nvidia GPU, which will be relatively decent, right? I don't know. Sony has been frustrating as hell. So few releases worth it to even own a PS5. But the VGC interview with Herman Holst is good news. Astrobot is called very important IP to the future of Sony, and he specifically said they want to get more genre variety in their releases. That's good. They need exactly that, and they need they need more diversity. The current PS5 is a 3060. No, the current PS5 is a RTX 2070 Super, specifically, if I recall correctly. Yeah, because 3060 came out. That was a generation that came out after PS5, and I would want to say that the 3060 also would outperform a PS5 too. So yeah, so I don't expect it to. It's definitely not going to touch the 40 the 4000 series graphics cards. So if you have, like me, I have a 4070 Ti Super. It's not going to be touching that guy for sure. Which also puts like people like me, PC gamers who own a relatively decent PC with a relatively good GPU. For me, with third-party games, I'm just gonna buy them on PC, like bluntly speaking, right? Like, and that's kind of been the case for me for a while. Is that when I have that choice, I'll get it on PC and I'll get way better performance. And so, what PS5 Pro has to sell to me to get me to really buy into it, given my own specific situation, PS5 Pro for me needs to have those PS5 exclusives that I can't go and just buy on PC instead on day one. It needs to have those running at the appropriate frame rates and resolutions and fidelity that you'd want to see, right? So Final Fantasy 16, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, maybe not Final Fantasy 16 anymore, because Final Fantasy 16 is coming to PC, and there's already mods for like ultra wide, even for the demo and stuff like that. So yeah, if I can play that on ultra wide 60 plus frames per second, then I'd kind of rather do that. 5000 series just got leaked. Digital Foundry covered it in their DF Weekly episode. Okay, cool. So I'm super excited because I have a thing that's going to allow me to upgrade to the 5000 series. So I'm probably going to get a 5000 series card too, which has me really excited because I'm gonna definitely use that, and it's going to be pretty amazing. So the gap between what you expect from consoles and the mid-gen refresh of consoles, and me just getting a new GPU, a newer GPU, there's gonna be a gap, and again, it's to be expected. That's PC versus console, but I guess again for me, I just want to see the PS5 exclusive games running at, insane frame rates, insane fidelity, insane resolution that justifies me needing to either sell my PS5, right, and then buy a Pro, or just spend the money to buy the PS5 Pro, which is kind of a hassle, to be honest, but we'll see. Waiting to see the spec of the 5000 series and price and available power consumption. Yeah, that's kind of another thing too, right? Is Nvidia hasn't been the most reasonable about any of the things that you mentioned. When would the 5000 series release? Early next year, I assume, right? I really wonder what those 5000 series prices going to look like, since it's being rumored to be more expensive than the 4000 series, which was called overpriced. Really? That sucks. Because if the 5000 series is even more expensive, then I'm just like, fuck it, bro. Like, that is just so lame. That is just, I would hate that. I would hate that personally. I don't think, yeah, I don't think that, like, I don't think that that's worth it. Hopefully Nvidia stock dip will make them more hesitant about charging like crazy, but AMD dropping out of the high-end race is not a good sign for prices. I'm willing to bet the prices will definitely be higher, right? But again, that's probably great news for Sony. So, because for Sony, that just means that more people will be getting a PS5 Pro instead, maybe. Nvidia and Sony need a solution to their scalping problem too. Yeah, big time. I mean, it's not as bad with GPUs as it used to be. With GPUs, it used to be terrible, especially during COVID, especially during the crypto rush and all that other stuff. It's a lot better now, but like during those situations, it was pretty ass. Also, I just want to check real quick, chat. Is my audio good? Am I cutting out in any way? Because I played with my audio settings a lot yesterday. And I just want to make sure that my audio is as crisp as possible, because I fucked with all my shit yesterday and I have no idea if I messed anything up. You could be a little louder. Okay. Thank you, Kino. I appreciate that. Let me see what I could do. Okay, how about that? Is that loud enough? Midnight, thank you. Thank you. Okay, sweet. Awesome. Audio's a little high on reverb for me. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I can do anything about that. Audio sounds very clean. Okay, cool. Go drink some water. I have water right here. Let me drink some. Wake up. So people can stop saying I look tired. Through the bags under my eyes. Oh man. Also, we have episode, I guess, The Answer coming out today. Is anyone getting that? Any Persona 3 heads picking that up today? The release starts at 11 a.m., right? For August, I think I have to check. You're not too excited for it, Kino? I get it though. Like, I mean, the answer originally wasn't exactly the most well received piece of content, but also, and maybe it's just me, but I think that, without spoiling for anyone who's playing P3 right now through Reload, but without spoiling, personally, I think that that Persona 3's ending is a masterclass. Like, you don't need anything else. There doesn't need to be an answer for anything that they did in that ending. I think that ending is like a fucking masterpiece. Yeah, the default ending is perfect. Yeah, like, you don't get like a better ending than that. But I get it, right? You know, fans are always like, oh, I want to know what happened and all the other stuff. Like, you don't need to know what fucking happened, bro. You don't need to know. Write your own ending. It's left in a beautifully ambiguous way, in a way that's like really the good type of ambiguity. But you get to see how the party deals with the aftermath and comes to terms with it, right? So, full disclosure, I've never played The Answer. That being said, having played P3, I just feel like the game as it is so complete. The ending, to me, is everything that it should be, that I almost am like hesitant to play it, because I just feel like what's the point of doing that? When the only good thing that we got from The Answer was the Dorkun meme. Yeah, that one I'm aware of. I'm aware of like the general plot of the answer already, so I never, you know, needed to like felt that need. But like the main story, I feel like in the ending is like already like solid enough. I didn't get P3R, no FMC, no buy for me. Oh man, nah. I did play Strikers, Persona Strikers. I didn't finish it, but I did play it. Do you think that format should continue with other titles? Like, should they make like a Persona 3 or 4 Strikers? I don't think so. I think it's fine. Like, I thought that 5 Strikers was good for like what it was, but I don't want them to do another one. What does PlayStation have to do to convince you to get a PS5 Pro? It kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like, to convince me to get a PS5 Pro, they need to have games that that I can't just get on my PC and run better on day one. So that is to say that the exclusive Sony games need to be looking real good on PS5 Pro in order for me to get PS5 Pro. Now, there was a post that I saw, I don't know if it's substantiated as a rumor or not, but there was a post that was like PlayStation 1 through 5 compatibility. So it would be compatible with all PlayStation games. That would be something that would actually get me to get a PS5 Pro. Is like if I could actually have full backwards compatibility with all titles. That would be a huge selling point, right? But even then, you know, it's still sort of like, how much backwards compatibility are we talking, right? Because I'm pretty sure with Xbox, like you can still put in like OG Xbox discs and it still works. That shit is tight as fuck, right? Like, if there was a PlayStation that did that, I would fucking buy the shit out of it. If it has full compat with 1 through 5, I'll buy it. Yeah. That would be something that would like, I'd be like, okay, I'm buying right now. I'm buying right now. Bloodborne 120 frames per second incoming subtext, I wish. Where the hell is P5 Fighters? Like P5 Arena? That would actually be great. What time does the presentation start? The presentation starts at the turn of the hour. So that would be in 31 minutes to be precise. So that's what we're waiting on. And the actual presentation is only 9 minutes. So not a particularly long stream today. Not Xbox doesn't work that way. I tried it with the used Fight Night in my Series X. It didn't work. Okay. I thought it did. Or wait, I thought actually what it did was that like you could like put it in and then it would like download the game and then it could do something like that. I don't know. Not all games work still though, and it's all emulation, not actual native hardware backwards compatibility, much like the launch PS3 was. Oh yeah. Did I miss the presentation? No. Presentation starts in 30 minutes. Yeah, if they show off Bloodborne, that's like a thing to do it. Because like I said, they do have, I feel like they do need to show one game today, because how do you demo how good the hardware is supposed to be without showing a game? Right? Like, that's something, sorry. That's something I don't get. Are you just going to show up Excuse me. Are you just going to show a box and tech specs and then expect people to buy it based on that? Which I'm sure some Sony boys might, but like more water? Okay. Fair. You're right. My throat's dry today. Right. So yeah, so you can't just show like specs, right? And then expect people to just be like, oh my God, I need a PS5 Pro right now. And I say that, but I'm sure that there are probably some people that are gonna be like, I'm gonna buy it anyway, just because it's the new PS5. I'm sure there's going to be some people that are like that, but like for me personally, I'm just like, dude, like who is going to buy that like without the games? Now again, I know next week we're gonna get a showcase, not a showcase, but maybe a state of play. It should be a showcase though, in my opinion. Again, because if we're really gonna be motivated to get this thing, then I want to see a lot of games, and I think that has been a reoccurring complaint about PS5 is that people are feeling like there is not enough reasons to really buy one compared to say a PlayStation 4 at this point. So it would be nice to see an Unreal in-engine tech demo like with FF7R original. That's true. But also too, I don't even know if like a tech demo would work, right? Because a tech demo would be cool, but I think my issue with doing the tech demo is that we don't have like a basis of comparison for the upgrade, if that makes sense. So I wouldn't really know, like, oh man, this is how much more powerful the PS5 Pro is from the PS5, right? I feel like I need, for something like this, I feel like I need an existing game to draw a comparison and to say this is the leap between like the PS5 and PS5 Pro, because this isn't next gen, right? I think with next gen is kind of an ambiguous thing, right? You don't know what next gen is going to look like. But these mid-gen console refreshes, you're going to be playing all the same games, but they're supposed to be better on the Pro than they are on the base unit. So I feel like I don't know quite yet if a tech demo would necessarily work, for me at least. But you could be right. That could be exactly what they do. And I don't think that you're wrong necessarily. Like, that's what they might do. I just feel like when it comes down to it, I want to see games that I have a basis of comparison for. Laughing my ass off mid-gen. Sorry if the brain rot's consumed me. Nah, you're right. I mean, this has kind of been like, I don't know how to describe this generation of consoles. Like, everyone seems really disappointed. Maybe not everyone, but a lot of people have seemed kind of like unenthused about this generation of hardware. Like, it hasn't really like really inspired people that much. I feel like some of the games have been really good, but there hasn't been enough of them. Yeah. And I think that's what a lot of people have kind of claimed about PS5. But the problem with PS5, or not with PS5, I guess with AAA game development is that game development now is so long that these games basically, like every PS5 game has to start development before the PS5 comes out. Otherwise, a game will not make it in time for the PS5's launch. Because for the PS5's life cycle. Because the PS5 is going to last, 6 to 7 years, average console lifespan. And a game takes, guess how many years to make? Around 6 or 7 years. So, for mini games, if they don't start development before PS5 comes out, then those titles will have to be PS6 titles. That is to say, any game that is starting development right now, is going to have to be a PlayStation 6 game. Right? Do you guys ever think about that? Right? Because any game that's starting development today is basically not coming out until 2030. How fucking depressing is that? How depressing is that? So yeah, anything that's coming out right now, anything that's starting development right now is not coming out until next decade. That's ridiculous, dude. Yeah, it's awful. It sucks. It sucks a lot of ass, but that's how long, games take now. Cloud Strive, thank you so much for the Prime sub, dude. How you doing? I think they could get by with decent graphics every game, trying to push the limits. Yeah, so last night I started because what me and my girlfriend are doing is that she's going to be backseating some video games with me because she wants to see all these video game stories that I always talk about that are really impactful to me. So I was like, okay, let's start with God of War 2018. So we started playing that game last night. I played it on my PS5 in our theater room. And, we're both just looking at it, on our nice projector. And I'm just thinking, man, this game came out 6 years ago. And this is still the best looking fucking video game I've ever seen in my life, right? Like, I'm still, completely blown away by how good this game looks. PS4 title. And it's just funny to me because, holy crap, we're still trying to push even further beyond that. And just looking at it, I'm like, how much better does it get when it's already the best thing I've ever seen? We're actually at the point now where we look at games and we think the graphics cannot get any better, and then they don't. Because they actually can't, right? And I mean, I guess at this point, really the only thing that really gets better and has any type of profound improvement is the frame rate and resolutions. Yeah, that's what I said to my friend the other day. I don't see how you can improve over Last of Us 2. Yeah, you look at a game like that, basically Sony's first party games, and it just doesn't get any better. Like Horizon Forbidden West. How does it get better than Horizon Forbidden West? Did I play Last of Us 2? No, I didn't actually. I'm gonna play it before the second season of the live action comes out. The live action has actually been really good. So I'll finally play Last of Us 2 before the live action hits of season 2 of it. Still can't imagine how 7 Part 3 could look better. For 7 Part 3, like the thing that could look better there is just the frame rate and resolution. Honestly, that game could probably look a little bit better in some areas. Because there is some jank texture stuff that does happen in the Re-Trilogy series. The character models though are already like flawless though. Like they're already like so good looking that yeah. So the only thing I'd really improve with the 7 games is the performance mode, because it's still really blurry looking. It's got some issues there, and the texture stuff. So that's 2 ways that 7 Part 3 could look better potentially. But if they finally fix that, I feel like the 7R trilogy in general has suffered from a lot of performance stuff. Well, not really performance stuff, but just texture problems and other weird things. FF16 FPS boost on PS5 Pro. Oh yeah, that's definitely happening. And probably a better Final Fantasy VII Rebirth experience too. The blurriness issue on performance mode, I expect that to be gone, right? Like I expect Final Fantasy VII Rebirth to look like graphics mode and have the frame rate of performance mode on PS5 Pro. But I also kind of expect them to announce a PC version as well for Rebirth. So we'll see. The gap is closer and closer while the computation requires a bigger leap. Look at non-ray tracing UE4 and the path tracing. Most people wouldn't notice much of a difference, right? And I think that's kind of the problem with a lot of the leaps, the graphical leaps, quote unquote, that are supposed to happen, is that a lot of them are for the very trained digital foundry eye, right? Who can really notice the difference between these very, I don't want to say minute, but these very, I don't want to say subtle either, but you guys know what I'm trying to point at. These type of graphical features that may not be noticed by people who don't have the type of supreme technical eye that you need to notice them. They require a lot more computation, and the result is not necessarily something that is going to make people go, oh my god, this is like a profound next generation leap. This looks so much more realistic or stands out so much more. I just don't see that happening from, you know, a lot of the new technologies nowadays, because a lot of them, again, it's just giving like, it's just giving 5 or 10% better, right? And I guess maybe that adds up, but it's not adding up in a way that profoundly makes me want to go and spend more money. If that makes sense. I'm gonna be real with you guys. If we just kept getting PS4 graphics for another 10 years, but those PS4 games are running at like extremely high frame rates and resolutions, I don't think anyone would have really complained or noticed. I would have been happy. I wouldn't mind. Yeah. I don't think anyone like I don't think most people would have like really been mad, right? For me, like, and again, going from PS3 to PS4, I do think that there was a leap there, like a tangible leap. Because when I look at God of War 3 versus God of War 2018, there's a difference there. Some people do downplay the leap between PS3 and PS4, but yeah, if you compare Final Fantasy like 7 Remake to 13, or if you compare God of War 3 to 2018, you do notice a leap. However, where the leap starts to get really marginal, I think is PS4 to 5, right? PS4 to 5 has definitely been the most marginal leap. And maybe that's because half of the PS5 games are PS4 games that are just running better on PS5. And I mean, we're about to get a PS5 Pro, but if I'm like real, I feel like PS5 is just PS4 Pro most of the time, right? Like I don't feel like PS5 has been a generational leap for the most part. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that to like be like PS5 bad. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that the technology is kind of at a limit. Like this is as much as we can do. Like I don't even think it's Sony's fault at all. I just think that it's like that this is just like the limit. This is where it's at. Like I don't think we go much further than this, other than just making it marginally better each generation. The leap should have been load times and frame rate. Yeah. Like I mean that's pretty much what it is. Like it's kind of like, like iPhone 16 was announced like yesterday. And every time a new iPhone is announced, people are like, "Oh, it's the same iPhone. I'm not going to buy it." But realistically think about that, right? What can they actually do to make it like better or unique? Other than like just make a better iPhone that that already exists, right? Because we reached a point where at the moment it's kind of plateaued, where it's not like there's a new technology or anything that like can really be added to like really shake things up. The only thing you can do is make the same phone but better. You can't really reinvent the phone at this point and make it do something that all the other phones can't do, right? But there was a time, and the time was not too long ago, where we were seeing like this type of leap happen like every other year. And it was like, oh my God, like this is like infinitely better than the thing that we had, just a few years ago. And then, a few years later, we get a thing that would jump and it'd be, oh my God, this is even better and better and better. And now we got to the point where things are so good, everything is so good that like, we're like, this is still the same shit. It's kind of felt like that for like 10 years. In fact, using phones as an analogy, phones haven't really significantly progressed in like a decade, or maybe even longer than that. Right? Like if I think about like a phone like 2014, I was doing all the same shit on it. And now I just do that same shit but like a little bit better and faster and better battery life. But it's not like in like the past decade there's been like any revolution that changes how I use my phone now versus how I used it back then. It's literally almost all the same apps too. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. It's like all the same apps, and they may run better and stuff like that, but it's not a leap that is like, oh, this is profoundly different in how I use it, or this is a leap into the future. It's really the same shit, but marginally better each year, and so. Genshin Impact runs better, yeah. Actually, maybe mobile gaming might actually be like the thing that has taken the leap in terms of like what you can do, because we do have Genshin Impact running. If you have iPhone 15 or higher, you have Resident Evil running on your phone. So maybe that's where you see some actual leap. There's more money to be made by slowing down innovation. Yearly releases make them as absurd amounts of money. Yeah. Yeah, because let's be real. Like, there's no need to yearly release a phone, right? Like, Apple does it, Samsung does it, but there's no reason to actually do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't have to. I don't know about you guys, but if you buy a phone nowadays, you can use that phone for like years and never need to upgrade it. It just works fine. And like, I find myself holding on to phones now longer than ever, and I just don't see the need. Upgrading a phone now is more like a treat yourself type thing, and not like a not like an actual I need a new phone nowadays, because I feel like the existing phones that you get are like, hey, you buy a decent mid-range to high-end phone, like, you could just hold on to that thing forever. I need backwards compatibility, Bloodborne, actual exclusive games that don't release on PC soon after. I need a real reason to buy it. Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing again for me, Jeff, is that like, I'm just like, I got a 4070 Ti Super, and that's gonna run a lot better than probably PS5 Pro. And so, you know, for me, if it's coming to PC, I'm gonna just get it on PC, right? So I would like to see something that's like, okay, I actually need PS5 Pro for this. Still rocking my iPhone Pro Max 12, works perfectly fine. May need to change out the battery at some point, but it still works perfectly fine. Yeah, exactly. And you know what? It's still probably gonna work perfectly fine in like 3 to 4 years, because iPhone 20 is probably not gonna like do that crazy compared to like what your iPhone 12 is, just due to the nature of these marginal upgrades. I'm 4 gens behind, so I'm finally upgrading in the next year. I'm like 5 gens behind, bro, on my phone. I'm still with like the fucking iPhone 10 series, and like, I just don't see and it still works fine. Well, it's a 10R, so it's a really cheap ass phone. But I just don't even see the need for like the more expensive phones anymore, because I'm just like, what's the point? What's the point? Same in Windows 11. In fact, I think Microsoft is going to stop support of Windows 10 next fall. That's going to be terrible. But I'm not upgrading to Windows 11. Miss me with that shit. I'm kidding. I'll probably upgrade to Windows 11 if I'm forced to. But actually, I have to upgrade my motherboard. Because you have to have like the new features in order to get Windows 11 or whatever the fuck. Which sucks. But I'd rather stay on Windows 10. I heard people are switching to Linux. A lot of people are. I'm not switching to Linux, because I don't have the brain power for all that shit. You can switch to Linux if you are like truly an intelligent, gifted human being who does not mind solving technical issues and stuff like that. If you are that type of person, then I highly do recommend switching to Linux if you have the patience and that stuff. But if you don't have that patience and you don't want to solve tech problems and stuff, then yeah. Did I miss the event? No, Crossy. In fact, you're just in time. The event starts. Oh, let's go ahead and pull it up. Let's fucking go. 6 minutes. Digital Foundry just revealed that a much needed update to Windows 11 just increased the FPS in the latest Star Wars game by 43%. Holy crap. That just makes me never ever want to switch to Windows 11 ever. That is as. Five minutes till the usual Sony disappointment. Who's ready? We're hoping for better. We're hoping for better. We're hoping for better. Do you plan you're going to do another stream playthrough soon? Yes. I am trying to decide on the game though, but I do want to do another stream playthrough, and eventually I want to kind of regularly stream again. I've been doing some sponsor stuff, such as this chair, and then I have another sponsor video coming out later this week. And so once I get out of that way, we're going to get back to our regular content, and I have to figure out what the fuck we're streaming next. But we're streaming something next. Have you been playing Black Myth off stream? No, honestly, I'll just be real with you. Like, too many close friends dissuaded me from playing Black Myth because they were just like, it's not that great. And I was like, damn, okay, I guess I'll save my 70. That, and they were really weird about sending content creators codes, and they didn't send me a code even though I requested one. So I was like, okay, well then fuck you guys. So UA, thank you so much for the tier 1. And thanks for being with us for 37 months. God damn. Hey, timing and duration of events smell to me like another investor-oriented event. I hope they'll drop at least one good game teaser. Skull UA, thank you so much. If they don't, then I think, I don't want to say they'll be in trouble because they won't be. People will still buy it, but I think it'll suck. Like, you know, because it'll be like, why am I buying like a box, another box? And they're gonna do like a games focused presentation next week, but I'm still kind of like, dude, you need to show games with the box. No one cares about a box. They care about what the box can do software wise, you know? But the actual box itself, like, I don't think people like really care like that about, you know, just the hardware. But we'll see. The best news we can get today isn't even the PS5 Pro. It'd be PS3 games being playable on PS5. It would be. It would be. They're gonna, maybe they'll show off Final Fantasy 13 and MGS4 running on PS5 Pro. That would be cool. Black Myth is good. Does a lot of interesting things with bosses, but not game of the year for a few reasons. Worth playing if you got the time and money. Okay. See, I would have still played it either way, but like, then they got weird with content creators and didn't send out any codes. And they were like super restrictive on codes. Like most people I know who applied for a code didn't get one. So how much do you bet they're going to start by showing the inner components of the circuits? Oh, dude, absolutely. And they're going to play like this music that makes it sound so advanced. And then it inspires you to be like, oh my God, PS5 Pro is so cool. I'm like, okay, well, if the inside of PS5 Pro is so cool, why don't you guys have transparent plastic on it? That's when you knew that tech was cool and you wanted to look at the inside. But tech now is boring, which is why they stopped doing translucent plastic. And the source is that I just made that the fuck up. I'm kind of into the idea of a better box, but why didn't they just make the PS5 a better box to begin with? I'll tell you why. $599 US. Oh my god. The price point that could be heard around the gaming world. $599 US. People were pissed. Man. Actually, even with PS5 Pro costing $600, that still means that it was technically cheaper, like when you factor in inflation, than PS3 at launch. It's crazy. Okay, let's go. Oh, wait. Why is there no audio? Why is
PlayStation 5 Pro, and how it advances gaming technology.
There we go.
But first, I want to take just a minute to look at what we put in the original PlayStation 5 and how it delivers an exceptional gaming experience.
We got it. It's fixed.
When PS5 debuted in 2020, it brought a lot to the table. 8 Zen 2 CPU cores form the brains of PlayStation 5 and enable high-speed complex gameplay, with character counts reaching into the hundreds and frame rates that can be as high as 120 frames a second. PS5 has a powerful RDNA 2 GPU, which can render anything from intricate details to fantastic worlds with vast panoramas to explore. Ray tracing allows for dramatic visual improvements, including reflections off of water or glass, and the realism that comes from real-time global illumination. A custom SSD can load data at breathtaking speed, resulting in ultra-fast transitions between game worlds and data streaming rates so high that traversal speeds are essentially unlimited.
You okay? I'm working on it!
Tempest 3D audio tech brings an unparalleled sense of immersion to the sound of the games. With audio so real, you may not even need to see the enemies to know exactly where they are. Finally, the DualSense controller has haptics that let you feel through your hands what your character is experiencing inside of the game. It's wonderful to see such variety and richness of game experiences. Creators have made amazing use of the hardware capabilities, but when I talk to them, I do hear about their desire for more graphics performance. The dreams of the developers are bigger than can be supported at 60 frames per second, and that leads to an aspect of modern gaming that we're all familiar with: graphics modes. It can be a difficult choice for players. Fidelity modes emphasize the visuals, typically through higher resolution rendering. These modes might also have enhanced detail or use more ray tracing. But the games only run at 30 frames per second. The visuals can be choppier and the controls less responsive. Performance modes emphasize frame rate and interactivity, typically choosing to run at 60 frames per second, mainly by reducing the graphical detail until those frame rates can be achieved. When asked to decide on a mode, players are choosing performance about 3/4 of the time. Removing that decision, or at least narrowing that divide, is one of the key targets for PlayStation 5 Pro. We want to give players the graphics that the game creators aspire to, at the high frame rates that players typically prefer. To do that, PS5 Pro substantially improves over PlayStation 5 in 3 ways. Here's what we call the Big 3. First, we made the GPU much larger and increased the speed of the memory it uses. The result is rendering that's up to 45% faster.
Okay, that
Second,
sounds really
we
solid.
made major upgrades to the ray tracing, taking a streamlined and accelerated approach that allows calculation of the rays at double or even triple the speeds of PlayStation 5.
Okay, this is sounding
And
pretty...
finally, we added custom hardware for machine learning, and an
Pretty
AI
powerful.
library called PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution, or PSSR for short. PSSR analyzes the game images pixel by pixel and can add an extraordinary amount of detail, which boosts the effective resolution of the games. Game creators are adding PS5 Pro support to new and existing titles, and with the big three involved, the results can be pretty amazing, with graphics showing something like Fidelity levels of detail, but at double the frame rate. Here's The Last of Us Part 2 running on PS5 Pro. It has huge amounts of detail and targets a super smooth 60 frames per second. Let's compare this to the Fidelity mode on PS5, which is only running at 30 frames per second and is therefore much choppier.
Don't stop! We gotta lose.
This goal of delivering almost Fidelity-like graphics at performance frame rates has been achieved for a broad set of titles, including Marvel's Spider-Man 2 and Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. We can see that PS5 Pro is close to doubling the power of PlayStation 5. Another way to compare the two consoles is to look at PS5 Pro versus Performance mode on PS5, both of which target 60 frames per second. What we see here is a difference in detail. PS5 Pro is much sharper and crisper than PS5. For this, my favorite is the parade scene from Ratchet & Clank. Distant details are much clearer. And here we can see Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is noticeably higher resolution throughout the scene, including the trees and procedural cars. So overall, some remarkable improvement to the games. On PS5 Pro, we can see increased sharpness to the graphics or smoother and more responsive gameplay. This is the big three showing their value. As you've been seeing, machine learning via the PSSR library is being used quite broadly to add pixel detail and boost frame rate. But there are as many approaches as there are game engines. The increase in raw GPU power is being especially effective for Horizon Forbidden West. Apart from the detail boost, that extra graphics power is allowing for improvements to lighting and visual effects.
This is the full resolution, bro. There's a difference.
As well as to the hair and the skin in cinematics.
Open up, guys.
Comparatively.
Good enough for me.
Ray tracing is finding broad usage as well, particularly when the games are focused on higher frame rates. The faster hardware in PS5 Pro can make a real difference. Allowing Gran Turismo 7 to add ray-traced reflections between the cars in gameplay, while continuing to support their targeted 60 frames per second. That boost in ray tracing is also delivering big wins for Hogwarts Legacy, allowing not only for better reflections and a greater variety of reflective surfaces, but also for further realism in the casting of shadows. I hope you've enjoyed this run-through of the technology behind PlayStation 5 Pro.
I do see the differences, though.
Simply put, it's the most powerful console we've ever built, and a worthy addition to the PS5 family. Let me wrap this up by giving you a quick look at a number of games running on the new console.
Okay. Okay, they would want to do a copyrighted music, but let's watch. Wow, it looks exactly like the rumor said it would look. It looks exactly okay. Let's see the games. Let's see the games. Oh shit! Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Oh, that looks better. It looks at graphics mode. It's running 60 frames. The Last of Us Part 2 re-remastered. Oh man. I guess. No disk drive? We'll have to go back and look at it and see. I don't know if there's a disk drive or not. The differences are just excessive though. None of it really improves like gaming on this system. Hell, 90% of the games releasing still get patched-in versions. Devs don't optimize properly anymore. Why bother? IDK. I mean, yeah, it's definitely not a thing that every gamer needs, right? But if you're the type of gamer who every time something isn't 60 frames, it's a deal breaker for you, then yeah. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. $700? $700? No way. $700 and no disk drive? $700 and no disk drive? $700 and no disk drive? Are you fucking serious? $700 and no disk drive? Oh, fuck off, bro. Yeah, you can. Yeah, no way. Fuck you. Yeah, no way. No way. Fuck that shit, bro. Fuck that shit, bro. Are you serious? Are you fucking serious? Ah! No way. Fuck off. Fuck off, bro. Fuck off, bro. No way. $700 and no disk drive, bro. No. We gotta go back. We gotta go back, dog. Remember when the rumored price was $599 and we were gonna see the revival of like the PlayStation 3 meme? $699. Guys. I don't want to like bring up like the PC gaming card here, and not to say that you can build a PC, like a really good PC for $700, right? Because I want to be honest, but like if you have a decent rig already and you buy like a graphics card for like $700, $800, like that like really will get you like a lot more than like $700 and no disk drive. $699 is just disrespectful, dog. $699 and no disk drive, like right? Okay, and let me be clear here. Let me be like fully transparent here. Due to the nature of me being a content creator, I receive most of my games through digital codes, and as a result, I'm already a digital guy, right? Like, so I'm already like a very digital person. So like I buy most of my games digital anyway, or I have most of my games digital anyway, just because of the way I get codes. So for me, it's not a big issue. So this isn't me like, you know, in fact, I don't own a single game physical for PS5 because again, I get review codes through companies, and that's how I get most of my games nowadays. And I don't have a need for the disk drive because that's how I get most of the games. So for me, it's not a big deal. Full disclosure. However, there's a lot of people who, Roto, Capsule, thank you so much for the super chat. There's a lot of people who all the games they own for PS5 are physical. So for all those people who only own physical games, that's it, bro. Like, it's Jover. Now, I'm sure you can buy the disk drive, right? Like, buying the disk drive is not a big deal. So no, you have to pay another $80. How much is the disk drive for PS5, guys? Oh, KYH9, thank you so much for the $10 donation. Furukawa has Sony announced the price point of the PS5 Pro. It's $700. Perfect. Announced the Switch 2 has DLSS and only costs $350. Yeah, I mean, Switch 2 is going to fucking clear in terms of price point. There's no question. And yeah, it'll probably do a lot better. Elliot Walderman, thank you so much for the super chat, by the way. I'm going to enjoy Digital Foundry comparison since they built a PC version of PS5 and it underperforms the console by 5 to 15%. Okay. I'm very, very curious too. And that 5 to 15% is definitely the console optimization, you know, that you're getting, so. This means that PS6 will be $800. Probably so, right? Because I mean, actually, I mean, how much was PS4 at launch? I don't even remember. PS4 was $300, right? Or is it $400? PS4 was $400. And then PS5, yeah, PS4 was $400. And then PS4 Pro was like $500, right? Big C's, thank you so much. The issue with no disk drive is used game market goes away. Thus, old games being overpriced, having to buy from online Sony's online gaming stores. Yeah. So basically, Big C, it does kind of like, it does suck because it means that you can only get games through Sony now, right? Like you have to buy a game through Sony, and if you're not buying that game through Sony, then can't buy it. If you're willing to dip into the used market, you can build a very powerful PC for $700. It won't have a disk drive either, though. That's true. I mean, like, again, I think my contention, and also thank you, howdy folks, for the super chat. I think my contention, in particular, would be that not so much that it doesn't have a disk drive, because I do think that digital is kind of inevitable. But like my point, I guess, with it would be that people already have PS5 discs. And so that's kind of a problem, right? That people already own the PS5 discs that they won't be able to use if they upgrade to the Pro model unless they buy another, like a disk drive separately. JPL Mac, thank you for the super chat. $700. May as well buy a new card and play cheap or free downloaded games. Yeah, I mean that's the thing too, right? Is that like, I think that like if you already have a decent rig, like a rig that's not like 20 years old, and you can just slot a better GPU into it, then you'd probably get better performance out of that than you would out of, or you'd probably get like good performance out of that, and then you just have like a PS5 that you already own, and you'd have a PC that can play some pretty decent games at the frame rates and resolutions that you want when the PS5 can't provide it. So, yeah. I also buy discs because it's cheaper, right? So, I mean, again, I'm sure that just like the PS5, like Slim, I guess you could call it, you know, you'll be able to buy the disk drive if you want. You'll be able to buy it separately. But it really means that this is like an $800 console, because how much is the PS5 disk drive? Let me check real quick. PS5 disk drive. Okay, so the PS5 disk drive is $80. Holy crap. Holy crap, it's $80. Oh my god, dude, it's $80. It's $80. So that means if you want to buy the PS5 Pro and you want to play your disc-based games, you will need to spend, you factor in sales tax, you'll need to spend $800, almost $900. Right? Because, I mean, once you add sales tax in there, because it's $700, right? And so I'll just use Texas as an example. We have 8% on our sales tax. So that's $56, right? So 56, and then, or let me do actually 780, right? So that's $62. And then, yeah, 62 plus 780. So if you lived in Texas, for an example, with an 8% sales tax, for the disk drive and for the console itself, you're looking at $842. Oh yeah, it's 8.25%. I just did 8% because I ain't fooling with the 2.5 part. I just round it. I round it down. If you don't round down, then it's like, hold up. $64, so it's just $2 more. So yeah, just using Texas as an example. I don't know if, how does Alabama have a higher sales tax than Texas? I don't know. What is the sales tax in other states? I don't know. What is the sales tax wherever you guys live? Actually, I don't know. In Texas, it's 8.25%. 8.6. 0 in Oregon. Okay, you're lucky there. 7% in Pennsylvania. 13% in Toronto. Okay, so using Texas's sales tax does seem to be like a good, like a reasonable example of like how much this thing costs overall. 9.29 in Alabama. Here it's 15%. Utah is 4.7. Atlanta is 8.9. 0%. New Hampshire, really? The fuck? 10.5% in Washington State. Okay. 25% in Norway, but included in the price tag. Okay. So Texas's 8% is probably a good middle number for like what people, yeah, it's a good average of what people will pay. So that's fucking nutty. That's fucking nutty, man. That is insane. So if you want the machine and the disk drive, you're looking at $840 around there, approximately. Unless you live in like one of the states without the without sales tax, or you live somewhere that doesn't have sales tax somehow. But most places do have sales tax, and only a couple states in the US don't have it. So, yeah, Jesus Christ. Don't forget the stand as well. The stand is not included. Are you fucking serious? The stand isn't included? PS5 Pro literally cost $1,000 in Canada. Holy fuck. Wait, is that Canadian dollars or is that converted to US dollars? Either way, I think that's a little too fucking much. But okay, if it's Canadian dollars, then it's $735. Okay, it's Canadian dollars. Okay, but that still means that it's. I just did the conversion. That still means that it's $35 more than how much it costs in the US, which is still pretty ridiculous. Yeah, because if it's $1,000 Canadian, that means that it's $735 US, which still makes it $35 more than it would be here. And Canadians, y'all have a higher sales tax too, right? I think I just read that it was like over 10%. But we got free healthcare. Do you want to trade, bro? I'll trade your healthcare system for more expensive PS5s if you want. I think that's a good trade deal. I'll take it. Because the US healthcare system is bro, you better not break a bone here without insurance, or you're going into debt. You better sell the goddamn house. Yeah. So the real trailer is sitting at mixed reviews right now. Yeah. Console plus disk drive will be $1,200 in Australia. Shh. shit, man. Dude, this shit is just overpriced, dude. This is just overpriced. It's overpriced, dude. And this is what's funny, dude. We were talking about all you PC nut huggers can stop with the PC versus console fanboy war and grow up. Dude, I don't think anyone is approaching that like this right now, really. I don't at least not in this chat. I'm sure that some people will. But I don't think it's like, y'all let me know, but I don't think it's unreasonable to say that this thing is overpriced a bit, and I don't know if the value is there for most people. Sony is on one right now. Yeah, I just feel like this is like, and I get it, like, for the increased processing power, it is going to be represented in the games, right? Like, it's not like it's going to be something that is not substantiated, but I'm just like, it's insane. The whole point of console gaming is that it's supposed to be an affordable experience for like the mainstream consumer to be able to get access to these high quality games without having to, you know, pay the price of a high end gaming PC. But I do feel like if you're gonna spend $800 on a PlayStation, you know, with the disk drive and the console itself plus tax, I'm like, if you're gonna spend 800, I would say, like, yeah, maybe just go ahead and spend a little bit more and get like a PC. Especially if you already have a PS5, dude. If you already have a PS5, then I'm like, well, you already got like the Sony exclusive games. If you're gonna spend 800, just like go ahead and get a gaming PC too. PS5 Pro literally costs more than my monthly rent. Yeah, that's insane. For the people who never got a PS5, I think the Pro isn't bad, to be honest. Maybe, but I kind of think that, like, if you haven't gotten a PS5, why, like, would you want to hop into the Pro at 800? I don't know. Mom and pops aren't going to buy a gaming PC for little Timmy. Right, they won't buy a gaming PC for little Timmy, but will they buy the you know, $700+ PS5 Pro? I don't know. I think they would just get a regular PS5 too for little Timmy as well. Like, would little Timmy necessarily need that level of ultra 4K, right? Yeah, they also aren't buying a Pro for little Timmy. You know what? They're also not. They're probably buying little Timmy a fucking Switch. Like, that's that's what's probably more realistic. You know, they're probably buying him a fucking Switch, or they'll probably be buying him a Switch too. Even, you know, that's the issue that I see for Sony with this. Selling your current PS5 should cover 30% of the cost at least if you really wanted one. Yeah, that's true. That is true. But it's just a hassle. Like, it is a hassle. But you can sell your current PS5 and get the Pro. Timmy is playing Roblox and Minecraft, let's be real. You're right. And he's not even playing it on a gaming console. He's playing it on an iPad. To be fair, you need a proper TV slash display if you invest in a Pro, right? I think if you invest in a Pro and you don't have like a really good monitor to use it on, then it's like kind of pointless. But you know, there are some people who get a Pro and then use like their shitty ass 720p TV from like 2013 to play it on. So, you know, there's always that guy. But yeah, if you don't have like a really good TV, then I wouldn't even recommend it for starters. And I mean a really good screen. I mean, I'm fortunate enough to have quite a few good screens in my house. So for me, actually, yeah, I'd benefit from having like that nice crisp screen. But yeah, I have like an 80-inch OLED as well downstairs, so it would look really good on that. I also have a 4K 60 gaming projector that it'd look really good on. And that's the type of TV that I think you need to like really justify this purchase. By the way, like if you don't have that type of screen, then I feel like you're probably fine with the regular PS5. Like if you don't have the type of screen to justify it, then I wouldn't get it personally. I did not buy PS5 until now. I'm not gonna buy one. I'll wait for Switch 2. Better for me, yeah. Juan Mendez, thank you so much for this super chat. I believe this is bait for advertising. They'll lower the price soon. I don't know, man. I think it's for real. Actually, though, Juan, you do make a good point, though. Like, that brings me to a good point, I should say. Like, do you guys remember when consoles used to have price breaks? Like consoles used to go down in price as like the generation went on. Do you guys remember price cut? They don't happen anymore, right? It's actually kind of crazy because it used to be like, oh, if you wait, the PS2 will be cheaper. And I remember when they used to have like the really cheap ultra thin PS2s for like $100. You guys remember that? It's part of what made like PS2 like sell like crazy. And like consoles don't actually get price cuts anymore. Nintendo Switch is still $300, which is like utterly ridiculous. The Switch didn't, so Sony stopped, right? Because the Switch kept selling well throughout its entire life. But to be real with you guys, there's no reason for like the Switch to cost more than $200. Honestly, they could probably sell the Switch for $150 and still make a profit. That tech is dirt cheap. That is not an expensive console to make. The hardware in that console was pretty much already outdated when it first dropped. It was already pretty like old tech. And so at this point, you know, it's really old tech. And there's no reason for it to be $350. Sorry for the OLED, which is even more ridiculous, quite frankly. And yeah. Switch is a tablet from 2016, right? And they're still charging $300 for it. And $350 if you want the OLED. Which is just like what the fuck ever. Very overpriced. But again, it's still selling well because people love the Switch. It's a console that has a lot of great games on it. And as a result, people are still paying that price for it. Is it worth it? Yeah, it's still worth it because people want to play the games. But shit, bro, $700? You could buy 2 Switch OLEDs. and I'm sure that's a point that Nintendo fans will be making, is that you could buy 2 Switch OLEDs for the price of a single PS5. So that's always been Nintendo's strong point. Their hardware hasn't been the best, but they've always had excellent games, right? And that's all it ever comes down to. $700 with no disk drive. How do you alienate a giant portion of your consumer base like that? I'm sick of Sony and their BS. I mean, okay. And what this also signals to me, like, and I said this before, and people kind of like, I don't think they really got it. But like what I said before was that, like, essentially this to me spells out the end of like physical games for Sony. And the reason I say that is because with the PS5 Pro not having a SKU that includes the disk drive, that is essentially means that they are discouraging physical purchases, in my opinion, right? Because what I could eventually see happening is the standard PS5, the one that's $450. I can see the digital PS5 like being the PS5 unit going forward, and them slowly phasing out the version of the PS5 that includes the disk drive, right? So then you would just have the digital PS5, which you can sell for cheaper, and the PS5, you know, physical version with the disk drive just getting phased out, no longer being a thing. I take the $700 and put it toward an OLED TV. The new TV would make a bigger overall difference in the Pro. I actually agree with you, like 1,000%. Like if you have a regular ass TV and you like went and spent $700 and got it like a really good monitor, you'd probably get a bigger like visual boost than you would from like actually getting a Pro. 100%. And like that's also the point too that a lot of people don't even think about when it comes to this stuff, is that like a lot of people don't have the TV screen to justify a PS5 Pro. Like the clarity of the images in the background he was talking about, if I go run that on like, you know, like we have like a TV screen downstairs that's like worth like $2,000, really, really good television. That's worth it, right? That's worth it. You can see it there. Big Yeast, thank you so much for subbing. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining the fire tier. Change your TV, not the console, if you really care about the graphic. Yeah, I think you're gonna get more from buying like a better TV than like you probably are from the Pro. But if you already have a great TV, then yeah, the Pro's probably like up your alley. But I'm like, if you don't, then I don't know if it's really worth it. Unless you're purely doing it for 60 FPS. Night Sky Prince, I just wanted a Metal Gear Solid 4 port. You're gonna get that. You're gonna get that. It won't be through like backwards compatibility. It'll be like what do you call it? The Metal Gear Solid Volume 2 of the remaster. That's how that's gonna happen. Yeah, I don't know. And now I feel even stronger about what I said before this event even started, which what I said was, for those who didn't join at that point, I said essentially them showing off this box without showing off the games that are going to be running on it is not a good idea. And now I'm really thinking, yeah, that was not a good idea. Now, there might be some strategy in this, right? There might be some strategy. What I think they could be doing is that they could be deciding to show off the hardware today And they kind of know that people are not going to be too happy about the price point. So they'll let that go ahead and kind of like, you know, blow over. And then next week they'll show off the games, right? And then the games will allow the hype to build back up and people will be top games and not as much the price point. That's what I assume their strategy is with going into this, but who the fuck knows? But yeah, honestly, it does feel like if there was a big game to be talking about right now, that would be nice, right? Like, I don't know if we were talking about like FF9 remake on PS5 Pro or something, you know, or another, then that would be good. But I feel like we have nothing to talk about other than the price point, right? Like, I don't feel like enough was shown for the price point. The no disk drive is a deal breaker for me. I still use GameFly to get games, play them, and send them back. Honestly, we get one otherwise, right? And that's like, I think that's like going to be a huge deal breaker for a lot of people, right? Because it's one thing to start the console generation and not have the disk drive and just say we're not doing physical media anymore. But it's another thing for people to already own the physical media and then tell them they can't use the physical media anymore because we're not making the disk drive anymore. Well, they're not making the disk drive anymore, but you're going to have to purchase it separately. For most consumers, 4K 60 full ray tracing support aren't going to be that attractive, right? Not to the point of where they want to spend $200 more, I feel. There are some people who are like, I want the best everything, who will do it. But I feel like for a lot of people, this just feels like not a substantial enough upgrade. And I do think that I'll pay like, you know, for me, I'll pay like $100 more for like the better version, quote unquote. But I don't know if I'll $200 more is where it starts to get like, ooh, I don't know. Can they at least fix it so the games I bought on disc can run off the console if they aren't going to add a disk drive? What do you mean? Actually, by that, a flagship Android that can play PS2 Switch games consoles, yeah. How much do you love Rebirth? For me, not 700 plus. I mean, Rebirth will come to PC, so eventually, so not a huge concern. I just realized why this will sell. GTA 6 will be console only initially, 60 frames per second, right? And that might be like kind of the big push for it is GTA 6. So there might be people who are like really crazy enough about GTA to be like, I want to play this at 60 frames, and then they'll go and spend that money on it. So yeah, dude, I thought the price point was going to be $600. I thought it was going to be 600. Everyone was saying that it was going to be 600. That was the rumor. And then $699 dropped and everyone was like, nope. I wonder if Rebirth will run okay on the Steam Deck. I'm willing to bet it will run okay-ish on Steam Deck. I have a good feeling it probably will. Probably won't be great, but it'll probably run. Steam Deck can sort of run FF16-ish, but it has some issues, and Rebirth is built on Unreal Engine 4. And so I'm willing to bet that Rebirth will probably run on Steam Deck, at least Steam Deck OLED, that it has a little bit more processing power on it. I think it'll run probably like 25 to 30 frames. I think what Sony is seeing is a relatively small install base for which the current hardware will not reliably play AAA games for 4 more years and need a new value proposition. Yeah. It's insane that this thing is going to cost twice as much as the Switch, you know, Switch OLED. And if you're talking about the standard Switch, you know, you can literally buy 2 Switches and a game, and you'd still have like $40 left over from the amount of money it would take to buy this. So I don't know. What do you think Switch 2 is going to be priced at? I don't think it'll be more than $400. I think anything more than $400 would be ridiculous. So $399 is what I'm predicting. If I'm honest, Switch 2 honestly doesn't even need to be that much, because remember, the Switch itself is like so overpriced, like massively overpriced. Like massively overpriced. That tech is like really old and really cheap to produce. Like dirt cheap to produce. And so the fact that it hasn't gotten a price cut in like 7 years is like actually ridiculous. Read the blog and link on the screen. Okay, let's take a look. PlayStation 5 Pro, the most visually impressive way to play games on PlayStation. Note that it's not the most visually impressive way to play games, period, because that's a PC. Features including GPU upgrade, advanced ray tracing, and PlayStation spectral super resolution take players to new heights. Over the last 4 years since the launch of PS5, we worked hard to continuously evolve the console experience and deliver great games our players expect from us. Today, I'm incredibly proud to announce the next step in that evolution and welcome the PlayStation 5 Pro to the PlayStation family, our most advanced and innovative console hardware to date. We developed the PS5 Pro with deeply engaged players and game creators in mind, as many have asked for a console that runs even higher fidelity graphics and smoother frame rates at 60 frames per second. We achieved this on PS5 Pro with several key performance features. Upgraded GPU. With PS5 Pro, we are upgrading the GPU to a GPU that has 67% more compute units than the current PS5 and 28% faster memory. Overall, this enables up to 45% faster rendering for gameplay, making the experience much smoother. Advanced ray tracing. We've added more powerful ray tracing that provides more dynamic reflections and refraction of light. This allows the rays to be cast at double and triple the speeds of the current PS5 console. AI-driven upscaling. We've also introduced the PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution, an AI-driven upscaling that uses machine learning-based technology to provide super sharp image clarity by adding extraordinary amount of detail. PS5 Pro provides gamers with amazing graphics at high frame rates. You can hear Mark Cerny, lead architect for PS5 Pro, discuss the key innovations from PS5 Pro in the following video presentation. Blah, 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 blah. Other enhancements include PS5 Pro Game Boost, which can be applied to more than 8,500 backwards compatible PS4 games playable on PS5 Pro. Wait, holy fuck. Does that mean Bloodborne? Does that mean Bloodborne? Does that mean Bloodborne? It can be applied to all PS4 games, really? Almost all. 8,500. This feature may stabilize or improve the performance of supported PS4 and PS5 games. Enhanced image quality for PS4 games is also available to improve the resolution on select PS4 games. PS5 Pro will also launch with the latest wireless technology, Wi-Fi 7 in territories supporting this standard. VRR and 8K gaming are also supported. 8K gaming is not happening. It's humbling to see how game creators have embraced the latest technology from PS5 Pro, and several games will be patched with free software updates to take advantage of PS5 Pro's features. These games can be identified with the PS5 Pro enhanced label with their titles. Some games you can look forward to include blockbuster hits from PlayStation Studios and other third-party partners, such as Alan Wake 2, Assassin's Creed Shadow, Demon's Souls, Dragon's Dogma 2, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Gran Turismo 7, Hogwarts Legacy, Horizon Forbidden West, Spider-Man 2, Ratchet & Clank. No Final Fantasy 16 though. No FF16 enhancement. At least not announced here. Whoa, PS5 Pro, did we know this was going to be announced today? Yeah, we did. We knew it was going to be announced today. We kept the look of the PS5 Pro consistent with the overall PS5 family products. You'll notice that the height is the same as the original PS5, with the width the same as the current PS5 model to accommodate the higher performance specs. Players can add an Ultra HD Blu-ray disc drive or swap out console covers when they become available. So that means that if you already own a PS5 with the detachable disc drive, you can go ahead and put it on the PS5 Pro. So that's nice. But if you own an OG PS5, then you're just fucked. So that sucks. That sucks. The PS5 Pro fits perfectly within the PS5 family of products. It is compatible with the PS5 accessories currently available, including PlayStation VR 2, PlayStation Portal, DualSense, Edge, Access Controller, Pulse Elite, and Pulse Explorer. The user interface and network services will also remain the same as PS5. The PS5 Pro console will be available this holiday at a manufacturer suggested retail price of $699 US, and it will include a 2TB SSD, a DualSense wireless controller, and a copy of Astro's Playroom pre-installed in every PS5 Pro's purchase. Well, okay. PS5 Pro is available as a diskless console with the option to purchase the current available disk drive separately. At least there's a 2TB SSD, right? That's nice. PS5 Pro will launch on November 7th, 2024, and will be available at participating retailers directly from PlayStation at direct.playstation.com. Pre-orders begin September 26th, so that'll be in like 2 weeks. Our PS5 journey would not be possible without millions of players who have supported us throughout the years and have shared with us their love of gaming. Whichever console option players choose, whether it's PS5 or PS5 Pro, we wish to bring everyone the best gaming experience that fits their needs. Well, my TV isn't good enough to justify this. That's like a good assessment, right? And that's what we were saying, is that a lot of people's TVs are not good enough to justify this, right? Now, see, I'm fortunate enough, like the current monitor that I'm using on my PC probably cost about as much as my PC does, right? Like, it's a pretty expensive monitor. I think this monitor is like $1,500. It's pretty fucking pricey. But that's honestly the type of monitor that you need, right? To like really take advantage of this, right? And then I have, you know, again, I have some other screens here too that are worth a lot of money. And those screens are good for like PS5 Pro. But like if you just have like a regular ass TV, I don't think you should waste your money on a PS5 Pro. That's something I really want to emphasize to you guys. I don't think that if you do not have the TV to really justify this, I don't think you should get a PS5 Pro. If you have a $300 or $400 TV, you should not be getting a PS5 Pro. I like how it looks, but I just used my warranty to replace my OG with a Slim. This feels more like an upgrade if an opportunity comes where it's cheaper. Comes hopefully. Elden Line, thank you so much for the super chat. Yeah, if you just use your warranty to replace your OG with your Slim, I think you're still good, man. Honestly, like unless you want to, if you have the Slim, then with the disk drive detachable, you can use it for the the Pro at least. So I'm stuck with 1080p monitors, so I'm not getting. I mean, yeah. If you have a 1080p monitor, don't bother with this. If you have like a 1440p or even like a lot of the cheaper 4K monitors, I cannot stress enough, don't bother. Don't bother. It's so not worth it for you, dog. Like, it's so not worth it. Get a if you have a good TV that has like a OLED TV with like a good refresh rate, like maybe like a 240 hertz OLED, that's like, really good shit, then I'd do it. Repadusky, hello. What's your thoughts on PS5 Pro? Yeah, I don't know. I don't think this was enough, right? Like, if you want to spend $700 so that you can play The Last of Us 2 again with even better graphics, I guess, slightly even better graphics, then like, yeah, go ahead. But like, other than that, I'm not sold on it yet personally. My TV does 4K, F14 looks great, but my older monitor is 1440p. I've seen no reason to get a Pro. PS5 does everything fine, right? Jumping from PS4 to PS5 Pro would be a good upgrade though, right? I just don't know like who's gonna actually spend the 700 on that though. That's like my big question. If you have a 1080p monitor, you can't benefit from the PS5 Pro. So just spend the $700 on your monitor. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I like how they used the PS4 game to showcase the power of it. Exactly, bro. Exactly. Like, they had to use the Last of Us 2 remastered to show the power of it. And that's like, that already lets you know what it is. That is not worth, if you want to play these games at like the frame rates, that are like ridiculous, then yeah. But other than that, I mean, I don't know. Okay. We are going to do, let's see. Okay, that's gonna be it for today's stream. I'll have a video coming talking about my thoughts on this. Until then, I will see you guys all really soon. Repadusky, thank you for that tier 1 for 18 months, dude. My guy, thank you so much. Yeah, I will see you guys on stream probably later this week because I want to stream some episode, I guess. And yeah, love you guys, and we'll talk